So the vast majority of people who become depressed, so often they're having setbacks in living. Okay, they're in poverty, they get divorced, they lose a job, and there's so many things that can make life difficult. And we do know that there are other things, like trauma and those sort of difficulties that can have a lasting impact on us. So for that, understanding was depression was mostly seen as a psychological issue, a sociological issue, and not really to be remedied by drug. Mm-hmm. But when they began to say all this mood, anxiety, all these uncomfortable feelings, we're going to say are diseases of the brain, do you know what the drug companies did? Hallelujah. Mm. Because you can't get a drug approved for unhappiness. Mm. You can't get a drug approved for, I'm anxious because I don't have a job. But you can get a drug approval for anxiety as a medical condition or depression as a medical condition. So the DSM-3, that reconceptualization, just drug companies knew it was going to open up an extraordinary expansion of the psychiatric enterprise. And so what do you see happening after that? You see that pharmaceutical companies began throwing money at the APA, American Psychiatric Association, and also hiring academic psychiatrists to start being their advisors, consultants, speakers, because they know that in our society and in societies around the world, medical doctors, especially at academic centers, have a lot of prestige. Mm-hmm. So if they become saying, oh, this is a brain illness, or these drugs are great, and this is a real diagnosis, the public's going to believe it, where they might not believe it just for a drug company. And that's what you saw. You saw this extraordinary amount of money going to psychiatrists in the 80s. And there, by the end of the 1990s, there was hardly an academic psychiatrist who wasn't taking money from the drug companies. Mm. So when you talk about 80 million Americans taking psychiatric drugs, from a business perspective, that's a story of success.